All right, we are live. This is our second episode of the podcast, The List. We talk about everything related to our project or NFT project called Grommets. And we have today very special guests. Our first professional Groms that we had was Hunter Jones. Man, thanks for joining.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me. Stoked to be a part of it.
Yeah, man. I'm so excited to have you. Like, we've been friends for a while. We worked together at atWSL before Hunter went into like dream mode. Like, he leaves the dream right now, and
Big
it's
time.
admirable. Like, I want to
Thank
start
you.
there. Like
Mm.
you left. You were working at WSL as like we worked together in the social media team, and you've always been a great surfer. You've always been a professional surfer, and you said, "Hey, I'm out. I'm gonna do my own thing." Like, you left in the front door, like, no hard feelings, nothing with
Yeah.
anyone, and how did that go? Like, when, like, let's start from there. Like,
Yeah.
you went on to do your own thing.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, that's for whoever's watching this, that's our listening. That's how Felipe and I know each other. We met at the World Surf League, and yeah, I worked there for 2 years. Ran social. I was editing their global campaigns and working on social and traveling, and it was amazing. But I think I got to a point where, well, getting the job initially, it was a dream job. I was so stoked. It was on my list of like dream jobs. I wanted to work for World Surf League or for Red Bull, and cutting edits, and it happened. And I was like, I always wanted to be a pro surfer, and was surfing a bunch. I started surfing when I was 10, but this opportunity to work for the WSL came into play, and I just had to go with it. So I did, and I kind of put that dream on the sidelines a little bit, and it was the best 2 years ever. Got to travel, and I got to a point where I felt like my work-life balance was a little off, and I just wanted to get back to, pursuing surfing and becoming a pro athlete. And it was probably the hardest decision I've ever
Mm-hmm.
made, because I loved what I did and I got to meet so many incredible people. But I was like, if this is the time, it's now. And I decided to, part ways with the World Surf League. And I was like, all right, well, you're parting ways. You better, make this happen. So that was my goal. I did freelance video work in between, trying to find sponsors and someone to kind of bring me up and, work with a brand like that. And I think it was like 2 years later, and I signed with Body Glove, and
Nice.
it's been incredible, man. I'm so blessed, and yeah, I'm just like, I pinch myself every day that, I finally made it happen. And I always knew I could, but I kind of had to take a few steps back and reorganize my thoughts. And yeah, here we are now.
No, yeah, man. I've always been watching you, and I mean, right away you seemed like to like already not land on your feet because it wasn't anything like falling, but you figure it out pretty quickly. And now, if you follow like Hunter, you see him just going to Costa Rica, flying planes.
Just living the dream.
Dude, it's
I'm
awesome, man.
trying.
Dude, it's
Thank
awesome.
you.
I mean, that's admirable. That's a great example of being like, you just got to go for it. The security sometimes is great, but it's not the best decision for your happiness. And it's admirable, man. I applaud you for that. It's awesome, and now being part of Groms, that's a story. That's a story that people could
That's
could
right.
look up to. I love that. I love that.
Thank you, man. No, it means a lot coming from you, and working with you so closely. And yeah, no, I'm really stoked. So thank you. Yeah, how's everything with Groms going?
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
We're in the very early stages. We're bringing people on. You're on. Tati was so stoked to be part of it. Jadson. We have Angie right now. You know Johnny.
Hmm.
Johnny's daughter. She's representing Colombia for the Olympics. So what we're doing now is trying to set a base really strong of a good community. They are really all into promoting diversity and really believes in
Hmm.
it. So we partner
Hmm.
with Black Girls Surf with Ro. Ro is amazing. She's leading that way for us in terms of like the
Yeah, she,
nonprofit way. She helps us a lot. We talk to her all the time. Figured out how we can help. So right now it's kind of like landing the foundation. We're putting a face to it. That's why we're doing a little podcast so people can get to know us. The NFT world right now, it's like divided between projects with cool art and projects with good community. The good community are very few, and the cool art is a lot. So the cool art is like you buy it and you probably flip it in a week or two, but then after that it tends to like fall apart because
taper off.
Yeah, because there isn't a long-term thing. So we're just trying to do. We talk about this all the time. It's like it's a entry point for us. NFT starts with NFT, and then we're gonna build a community, build things that they'll support the diversity from the NFT.
Amazing, sick.
Yeah,
what are all your guys' roles with Grommets?
It's ever changing.
Yeah.
I think we all wear different hats.
But that's a good question.
That's
you
pretty cool.
Off,
yeah, sure. I mean, starting off from like the very beginning is just creating the Discord, creating a server. None of us really have a tech background, but it's something that's like, let me jump in it. let me see what this is all about, and kind of learned on the fly. Isaac and myself, we have a recruitment background. We actually both work for Block, formerly Square. So kind of utilizing that with our strengths. And yeah, but like I said, ever changing. We wear multiple hats. None of us are artists. None of us are techs.
That's cool.
But, we have an understanding that, we have to hire the right people and bring the right people in to make things go accordingly.
Yep.
And I don't have a recruitment background, but I'm learning on the fly.
Nice.
But that's we're trying to get obviously the right people involved. I mean, I think starting off with like a heavy hitter like Ro, having you on board, like here just with us, I think is some great momentum to what we're trying to build here. So
killer.
Yeah,
sick.
I'd say, and to that question, Felipe really does provide us with like a lot of the, like podcasts. When like before we started, you asked like, "Is this our first one?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Like that last one was our first one, and that was my first one ever. And so like, I think Devin could say the same. Ronnie, maybe. So Felipe has this marketing background, social media background. Very involved in the surf community, and then Ronnie, he's been as a professional recruiter for over 15 years. So a lot of his IQ comes like organizational intelligence, like how are we setting this up, like what kind of documents do we need to have in play. I would say what Devin brings to the mix too, and this is from my perspective. Devin, you can add to this. Devin has really been involved in a lot of NFT communities. He's been whitelisted on a lot of projects, good projects, and some that, we can forget about. But he's just doing the groundwork, right? Like really involved as
awesome.
When it comes to what it takes to get on a whitelist, what it feels like, what that journey feels like, that customer journey to kind of like see a project, jump in it. And then for myself, I'm trying to be more on the marketing side, but I could see myself being more on the inclusion and diversity piece, like kind of like those communities. Really, really excited about Ro, but also just taking a step back and not just like trying to do a project or trying to do some event, but saying like, okay, like let's say Ro's the expert here. How are we going to channel our energy to do an event that is representative of Black Girl Surf and what their mission is, and then also kind of pulling together our resources and community. So that's kind of how I see myself fitting in here. But I think we're all Groms right now when it comes to NFT, for sure.
Yeah. Fits perfectly.
And that was the idea. We were like, oh, let's just do Groms because obviously I have a relation with surfing, but we're very early on this NFT. Actually, everybody's early because it's very like a lot of people not into it. Not that they don't want to be. It's just that it's very, very new. And so that's why it was like Groms. Like, Groms kind of tend to get together, learn from each other, teach each other, like learning as it goes. So that's what it all came from. And because I have the connection with surfing and I think that and surfing, as you know, needs a lot more diversity in it. We wanted to put that into it. So it kind of like, ticks all the boxes for what we're trying to do. And I mean, do you have any NFT? Have you had any NFTs? You can be honest.
Don't.
It's okay.
I don't. And I feel like I'm like losing, but
Wait,
no,
he's got an
I'm
NFT.
well,
Got an
hey,
NFT.
you know what? I'm wrong.
That's
We have
right.
ours, and once it comes out, it's yours.
I am an NFT, I guess.
Yeah, you are. Exactly.
So
Yeah, I
excuse
think
me.
you're already on. You're on top right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand the concept.
Mhm.
I'm super, into it and like want to learn more. I'm dabbling in crypto and stocks and trying to get my knowledge up there. And yeah, I think stoked to learn from you guys and stoked to be an NFT.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's basically how it starts. Like you know, people get into crypto. Actually, people get into stocks, and then crypto's similar. You kind of just put your money there and see it grow like in the long term, and then
Or drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or up and down, up and down. Yeah. And then NFT is basically like an asset, like a digital asset that you could just put crypto into it and see if it grows or not. But what happens now as it starts to expand and a lot more competition, people see it see it as like a ticket into a something. Like people do like ticket into concert, ticket to album, ticket to whatever. Like the Grammys are doing an NFT now. Like the Super Bowl did an NFT. Like, but what people are doing, like people like us, creating a community, and you kind of get into our community through these NFT. So once you have an NFT, now you have all these utilities, and what we're trying to do is do like real world utilities. So let's say one day, like perfect world, like let's say like our dream, a perfect world will be like one day we have like a institute that helps teach kids how to surf, and then over there they have some like mental health classes and how to deal with different people, accept different people. So we'll have that institute, and once you have that NFT, you have free access to the institute for life, as long as you have the NFT, or and then right now what we're trying to do is like after it sells out, we will buy a house in Brazil, and that house will be like for NFT holders. Anybody that has NFT, we'll figure it out if it's gonna be like 80% or for free. Whenever they want to stay at that house, they stay, and then we will also raffle like trips around the world, so people that have NFT could go and see other cultures. Like learn about the cultures, learn about all the countries. So it's kind of like that's how like building the community through NFT. What I see as the future kind of thing. It's like things starts getting transactions in like through NFTs, and with that NFT, if you hold it, you're part of this community. Other people are doing just as art collectibles, like like Bape, Bored Ape, and it's the most expensive now, but it's art collectible, and you have some utilities, but it's really more about like the value of it. So I think that's where I see NFT going, and it's good that you don't have one, because we'll walk you through the process of you actually we airdropping it to your wallet. We'll have you we'll walk you through like setting up a wallet, putting, if you want to put crypto in there or not, doesn't matter, but we'll airdrop yours into it. And then what's cool about it, we can do like a contract that like you get some royalty on the NFT forever. Right. So because it's yours, you should get a royalty on top of that, So if if you ever decide to sell, if the thing blows up and this thing's worth $1 million, whatever, and then you sell it, and after that, everybody that sells it, you get this royalty, because that's you, that's your image, that's you. So so we'll put that in a contract. So that's why it's cool. The NFT goes into this blockchain that it could put a contract against it, and whatever that is, it connects to the NFT, and that'll happen. So that's as far as we all have learned,
sick.
And also obviously the technology is evolving, so we're trying to evolve with it. So we'll be some old Groms in the future. Isaac and Ronnie and Devin, and like we're all doing research. We all have our different like ideas and perspective, because we read different things. So I don't know if you guys want to add to that.
Yeah, I guess I'll ask you, Hunter, since you've done a little bit of like research and looking at it. What have you found so far, like to be confusing, or that's or that you're like, oh, this one seems legit? What's your take on it so far?
Yeah, I mean, I have a handful of friends who are super into it, and I guess to be completely honest, I've just not allocated enough time to completely fully understand the ins and outs of it, and that tied to money
Mm-hmm.
is like a little scary, I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah.
as someone who's just
Mhm.
getting into it. Like, and I don't, I could allocate more time, but I haven't. But, I would want to know the ins and outs of how this works, how I benefit,
Mhm.
what are the pros and cons, and what does it look like long term, and then picking the right one. I think I've seen
Mhm.
Ko Smith
Yep.
do his own version of it, that I saw Stab write something about.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I see the value, and I see why I would want to get invested and like put the money in and then get the benefits and have the long term growth. And I see that. I guess I just haven't put the time in that I would need to. So yeah, that's kind of my intro
Mm-hmm.
to NFTs and that whole
Mhm.
space. And I put some money in crypto and I put some money in stocks to kind of like, okay, this is how this works. This is how it
Yeah, it's
ebbs
yeah.
and flows. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to
No,
figure
you're
it
in a
out
perfect place.
slowly.
You're in a perfect place. I mean,
Yep.
we're all coming from
What
the same spot in that sense.
and once you start, man, there's no coming back.
You gotta be careful.
Hey, it has
Oh,
consumed
man.
some of my friends' lives. Like that's where I'm also like, gosh, like I don't want it to control me.
Yeah.
I'd rather just
Yeah.
Mhm.
put some money in that I can trust, know it's going to
Mhm.
fluctuate, and then like,
Mm-hmm.
rest easy.
Yeah. That was me the first 2-3 weeks. I was calling these guys. I was like, bro, I don't want to try to sell you on something, but I was
Like,
24.
guys, I have an idea.
I was 24.
Called Grommets.
Yeah. I was 24/7, dude. I was 24/7. Cuz like my
Mm-hmm.
first one, or my second one, I flipped it within like 2 days. I bought it for like I don't know, $400 worth, and I sold it for 3. And I was like, "Whoa."
Exactly.
you know. But then
Yeah.
yeah. But then we bought some
Totally.
we bought some wrong ones sometimes, but the ones that we're most excited about
Thanks,
is the one
Devin.
that has long term planning, and meaningful things
Yeah.
behind it. There's one called Women
Right.
Rise,
Yeah.
and it's a great artist,
Mhm.
and she supports like all the women that have done significant things to history, and
Mm.
so just to be involved in that, it's cool, And she's really into
Really
it. She
cool.
goes into
Yeah.
talks. She goes meets people. She kind of like educates people. So it's cool. It's a cool project to be involved. We see a lot of growth on that long term. So, and to be part of it is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sick.
Yeah, Isaac has some
Yeah,
good
I'm really
ones.
excited about. Yeah, I like women rights a lot, um, just based on the fact that the artist Malia was an activist and just kind of doing the work, and then this is an extension of the work that she's doing, that activism, and then
Mhm.
and like through this NFT, it's kind of how it kind of manifests itself, and with this whole NFT thing, I like how like as creators you can own the relationship with your community,
Mhm.
right? So like if you have an NFT and you're part of the Groms community, we can send rewards to that specific person, and then you could send rewards or just kind of just really own that relationship. And it's not like, and that's the cool thing about this whole revolution. It's like right now we own our relationships on like Instagram or YouTube or like Facebook, but any day, Zuckerberg can be like, look, you're out. And then what
Yeah.
happens to that community
Yep.
that you've built? It's like gone.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
from my perspective, I'm like, okay, let's put our time or money where we can learn. And this is like kind of what we're trying to do is like with all of our partners, we're trying to learn and figure this out and see how we can really leverage this type of technology where we can all learn what the hell is going on out there with
Yeah.
this revolution. So we're not left in the dark. And I feel like, usually this type of info hits me or like my community, like last, right? And forget about like my mom knowing about stuff like this.
Mhm.
So I'm like, no. What's this about, Felipe? Yeah, we're
Yeah.
in. We're doing
Yeah,
it. We got to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been
And
fun.
that's a huge component. Like we talk about the lack of diversity in the water, right? The lack of diversity in the NFT space is just really not quite there. So that's kind of when we talked about diversity and inclusion, it wasn't just through surfing, it was in the NFT space as well. So take a look at everybody around, well, minus Devin, but Devin's Argentinian. You know, we all have different backgrounds, right? And we want to be able to educate people to say, hey, look, this may seem like a risk, but these are the benefits to it. Just so we could educate as we're learning as well. You know, because it is something that is a bit scary. It's a bit frightful when you're throwing money at, you know, random art that people are like, oh, you could just copy and paste that and now it's yours.
Right.
That's what people.
No, it's not quite like that. So.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
How much did you spend on the pretzel? Like,
In the what?
like I have a pretzel NFT, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I bought a pretzel NFT, and I'm like, are you really putting like $200 on a pretzel NFT? You know, but then you think about like.
That's what's cool.
Like,
Sometimes
really
you just like Isaac said this before. Like it's cool that like you are investing into a like project that you believe in. Like once you get to know what they're about, and then you kind of like buying this art, so you support and then you're part of the community too. Which is that's what I like the most is like. You know, because once you buy one that you really support the community, you don't want to sell that. You just want to be like, this is my connection to them. Like this is like, hey, look, like we're together, you know, like I support you. I have this. I don't, you know, the woman rights one, I don't see myself selling it, you know, like unless it's crazy money and you're like, oh, you know, I'll sell this and buy another one. But like, you know, so I think that's a cool thing. Yeah, that's a cool thing about it. That's why we want to bring people that like are like invested and are like you actively have done a lot about like diversity in the water. You've talked about it. You know, you have your own project, right? Like
I've done a handful of things. One Planet, One People. Yeah. Totally, man. Yeah, for me, I growing up, you know. Yeah, I was one of few, you know, African Americans, or I'm mixed, you know. My mom's Caucasian, my dad's African American, so I got both sides in me. But yeah, you know, growing up, I know I bring a uniqueness to the sport, and I never felt like I was viewed different. I didn't feel like I had less opportunities, and you know, surfing was always me against myself, and I view people like the ocean views me. You know, the ocean doesn't see race, doesn't see color, it accepts all of us regardless of the good or bad things you've done in your life, you know. And I want to like embody that, and you know, if I can be a light to someone, or just, you know, that glimpse of hope that you could go and make your dreams come true, that's what I want to be, regardless of surfing, regardless of what it might be. Like I just went and did what I wanted to do and made it happen, and I want people to embody that, and if they can see that in me, then cool, and that's a job well done, you know. So yeah, through the media I do, through the partnerships I do with brands, I try to bring that about. And you know, it's not a color thing to me. I just want to, I think, expose people to the opportunities that we all have, and shine light on that.
That's why I was like,
that's inspiring, man.
Thank you.
That's an awesome perspective.
And that's exactly aligns with what we're trying to do. It's like, just like follow that little fire that you have inside of you. You know, it doesn't matter who you are, and sometimes it's kind of blurry because you get into a lot of things. Life gets thrown at you, and sometimes the way you were raised, or maybe, you know, the people around you for some reason, that doesn't help. But if you have that North Star, which can be somebody or a project, or, you know, something that just hit you and you're like, okay, I could do that because that person that looks just like me, you know, did it, you know, and
exactly.
And that's exactly what we want to do. And that aligns perfectly on what you already done. And obviously me knowing you personally, I know you amazing person. So that's why
thanks, man.
We're happy that you accepted being an NFT.
Yeah, of course. How could I say no, man?
Man, how did you start at 10 years old?
Yeah, man. I grew up.
I've been wanting to ask this for a while. Like, once you said that, I was like, 10 years old? What?
10 years old in surfing is actually considered pretty late.
Oh, is it?
You know, some kids are starting, when they're in diapers and just like getting used to the ocean, getting pushed into waves, so 10 years old is kind of considered late to people you see on the world tour for WSL. But yeah, I grew up skating. I think I mentioned that, and I loved action sports. And my best friend's father pushed me into my first wave at El Porto, the beach I grew up surfing. And I just fell in love with it, man. And I haven't stopped since, and I don't see myself stopping, and it's completely changed my life. And it's cool that like that, I think back like that one little moment where he just like pushed me into that wave, and that changed my life forever. It's psycho. So if I can share that with people, awesome. Or like, do that, I think that's a goal for sure. And it's special, surfing is really special.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you got to live a little bit of, you said how working for WSL is like a major passion of yours. At the same time, being able to surf, now it seems like you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. You're still somewhat a part of WSL. And now you're professionally surfing, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Inspiring for a lot of people.
Thank you, man. Yeah, you can do anything you put your mind to. Yeah. Control the controllable. That's what I always say. Like, all these things can go in your mind, and like all these options and all these different opportunities or missed opportunities, but you can always control what is in front of you and what you have around you. And I think anything's possible if you put your mind to it, and you have to believe in yourself first, because no one else is going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. And as goes with Groms, I'm sure you guys are there too. Like, you believe in this and you see this, and once you believe in it, then hey, I believe in it too.
Exactly.
So that's how everything starts.
Hunter, I have a great question for you. Who was one of your role models growing up? Who did you look up to?
Oh gosh, it's a great question, man. One was Mikey February. I saw him doing what he was doing, and he made it on tour. And although being on tour was never like my goal, I saw.
Is Mikey February that much
like
older
him.
from you? How old is he?
We're pretty similar in age. Yeah. I think he's a little older. Him, I saw Salama Masakela on, X Games, and I was like, gosh, sick. Kelly Slater, of course. Those were the guys. Tony Hawk was someone I looked up to. And I was also, I'm a creative as well. I do video editing, marketing. I love it all. And I was always the kid who would just go on YouTube and watch and consume a bunch of media and try to become like what I saw. That's how I taught myself, I didn't come from a background of like a surfing family or like anything in that space. I had to figure it out for myself. And that's why, you can do that. And there's so much opportunity. So that's kind of what I'm trying to like push forward into the world.
And you taught yourself editing too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get into like WSL?
Great question. I had a friend of a friend who knew Jason Penning, who's the creative director at the World Surf League. And he said, hey, I got this kid, and just want to show him around the office. And he showed me around the office, and ended up working for a couple other surf companies doing some video editing. And one summer I got an intro and ended up getting a internship.
Oh yeah, I forgot
led to
about
my
that.
full-time position. But yeah, dude, I was an intern.
I forgot
I was taking crap.
So
you're, man.
You're grabbing coffee for Felipe, huh?
Absolutely.
I don't remember that, but yeah. Damn, I remember. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
That's crazy. That's great. We had a great time. It was amazing.
We did. Yeah.
Hey, Hunter, you talked about how, when you're working at WSL, the World Surf League, and work-life balance in terms of like, okay, you're working at WSL, of course you want to be successful there, but then you have this passion of being a pro surfer and you want to see that through. Could you talk about that moment where like you realize like, okay, like straddling these two worlds isn't working, and I have to just like I have to commit, or like, as you guys call it, send it. I don't know if that's an appropriate way to use that term. But.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? I do remember, I was thinking to myself, as selfish as it sounds, I was like, I'm I'm building up these other athletes' profiles. I'm making edits for them. I'm making edits for their sponsors, and I'm making their names known. And I was like, why am I not doing this for myself? Like, I know I can do it. I know I'm good at my craft. I've made, thousands of viral videos. I know how to do it. So like, what's stopping you from doing it for you and, following your dream and making it happen? And I just had to like sit with that for a long time. And I just came to a point where I was like, I'm young and I can make it happen.
Yeah.
So I did everything I could to make it happen. But that was the moment.
That's a massive thing though, is like to have that confidence in yourself, knowing like, no, I should be there, like, and I think that kind of goes overlooked a little bit, especially in the athletic world. I was playing soccer for a long time, but having that confidence in yourself, and being ready in the moment when that moment does come to shine. You had to have practiced a lot to be ready when that moment did come.
Yeah, Devin was a professional soccer player.
Thank you.
And, travel a lot to play and all that stuff. So he could relate to that.
Oh, yeah, the world for sure.
I wonder if you could actually make some edits to make him look like a good player, though.
Oh,
wait,
Felipe's not that good. Felipe's not that good.
Not that good.
Yeah, my editing skill, my editing skill's
time.
not there. I don't think I can make him look good.
Hey, but I can relate to Hunter though. Like I had a similar like kind of like path through college. You guys remember? Like I was watching a lot of videos of like the guys that were at the top of their game in the moments that like, hey, I need to be trying to do the same thing as these guys are doing if I want to get to their level. And then you hit a certain point where you're like, nah, I'm good. Like I'm good enough.
I just have to do this.
I need to believe in myself.
Yeah.
And just go.
Yeah, I was fortunate to have parents who supported anything I wanted to do in terms of my goals and dreams, and my dad drilled into me, and I've said this, I think already, but he always told me you can do anything you put your mind to. And it is as simple as that, And I think the other flip side of it too is I've never been satisfied with myself. Even now, I guess, being able to call myself a professional athlete, like I'm still not satisfied and I feel like I have to do more and it's never enough, which is a beautiful chase, like just becoming the best version of yourself. And you guys, I'm sure, can relate with, everything you're working on here. But I think that combination of things has helped me a lot. And, I want to leave a legacy behind and like not just be a surfer, or like just do it for me. I want to do it for the future. I want to do it to leave something with my grandchildren and their children and so on and so forth, and like literally make change. I think that's why we're here. Like, I think you're on earth for a purpose, and I believe, you can do anything.
That's exactly what we talk about
perfect.
with Grommets. It's like, we want to build this for 30 years from now, or maybe like, or kids could like be part of it, run it, figure it out, like, have this great, they'll
do better than us.
Yeah, they probably will.
Exactly.
Exactly. So this is exactly what this project is about. It's like we're doing an NFT, but it's for the real world that will come along with it. So that's the main purpose of this whole thing. This really is the main purpose of this whole thing.
Well, also to the point of like us not thinking we're experts too, right? Like we're also always ever changing, ever growing too. Like to not like you were saying, Hunter, is like
places.
We're trying to think like, hey, we need to keep growing, and just as human beings in general, like where can we learn and grow from experts like you that started their own community and with One Planet, One People. Like that's pretty amazing. I want to hear a little bit more about that if you can.
One Planet, One People started a couple years ago. It was basically, we just wanted to create a hub of information and organizations that we felt aligned with our brand initiative, which was environmentalism and social and racial equality, and just supporting other organizations doing rad work like Sea Trees or Color the Water. And yeah, it's cool. Right now I'm working with Red Bull on a board fundraiser where each of the founders get to have a board of their choice and colors and all that, and donate funds to an organization. So I chose Sea Trees. And yeah, just finding ways to support those kind of things. And yeah, it's special.
Dude, how many sponsors do you have now? Your board is becoming like Medina.
No, it'll never be Medina or Adrian.
Oh, Adrian,
those guys are on a whole other level. I got Body Glove. I just signed with Otis Eyewear this year, and Sanuk. Those are my 3 sponsors that work with me. And then I'm fortunate to work with a bunch of other partners on multi-month deals and fostering some cool relationships with some other companies at the moment. So yeah, man, I'm blessed.
What was your airplane trip?
You getting that White Claw sponsorship too?
Dude, yeah. I mean, I'm not on a team yet, but I was just a part of the launch of their brand new product. It's called White Claw Surf. It's insane. It's so cool. I got to do a 6-day trip traveling around surfing everything but the ocean. It was called Surf Like No Other. And we sandboarded, we wake surfed, we e-foiled, we did a bunch of really cool stuff.
That's
and
sick.
Yeah, myself, Ivy Miller, and Blair Conklin are like the face of White Claw Surf. So it's like so
you get free White
special.
Claws?
Yeah.
That is awesome. So cool.
We'll talk about that,
Oh no, because I remember seeing some stuff on social. I'm like, oh man, dude, that seems legit. And you always had a can. I'm like, oh, he's got to be shooting for something.
He knows what he's doing.
That was cool, man.
Do you have
that
somebody
cool
that does
Thank
like? Because dude, that's another thing that's admirable. Like, did you have somebody that goes after brands, or do you just put yourself up to it?
You know what? I brought on a management team about 1.5 years ago to help facilitate these deals. But to be completely transparent, all these brands have come directly through me, and it's rad now that I get to, funnel them to my team to help negotiate, manage, and then internally we do the back and forth. And that's like helped me not have to be literally everything. Like I'm the athlete, the creative, the social director, the editor, the negotiator, bringing in the deals. So it's really cool to it's funny. Like when I went pro, I felt like I had to figure out how to be a pro surfer. And like, this is how I've always wanted to just focus on surfing, and I've done everything else for as long as I could to get to that point. And then it finally happened. And I was like, how do I just do this? So it's cool to get a management team and start to allocate work and stuff to other people. And that, I'm just trying to become the best surfer that I can be. That's my goal for this year specifically. And so it's cool to have a little team.
That's awesome. I've surfed with Hunter a bunch of times, especially in El Porto. They blocked some waves for me before. It was cool.
Absolutely, man. Always.
Are you talking about on the jet ski or actually?
No, just he goes first. He goes first and lets me go on the board.
Nice.
It's a good time.
He gives you a little push.
Totally.
If you let these guys throw dags, dude, they'll throw.
Shots fired.
Yeah, man, that's
yeah, it's good to know that you're sponsored by Otis. I actually was looking at their glasses and I was like, I just have no connection to this brand. And then I'm like, but they look pretty cool. So I got a pair and I'm like, damn, yeah. Hunter,
you got a pair?
We got this.
Heck yeah.
So
it's sick.
I got a pair. Yeah,
Sick.
I got a pair. But now I'm going to get a couple more pairs, knowing that Hunter's part of the team.
Don't sleep on Sanuk, too.
Oh, yeah.
Those sandals are nice.
Oh, they're comfy.
Oh, dude, they're money.
I'll get you guys some codes, whatever you need.
I'm talking about Hunter's sponsors.
Dude,
yeah, I'm with Sanuk.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it then.
I'll do it.
Yeah, Sanuk Body Glove.
Yeah, that's sick. That's awesome. Look, I'll get those codes because they have those flip flops, not flip flops. It's like it looks like shoes, but it's not. It's like where you just kind of slip on.
Yeah, the slides
dude,
basically.
It's so comfy.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
dude,
They're so good.
those
Dude.
are.
Wait, do they breathe
cozy.
like? Do they breathe like the Crocs kind of like how they have? Or
They're
is it
not
Yeah,
more like
enclosed like
slippers?
that. It's literally
Oh,
just
okay,
like,
cool.
your foot's exposed, so you're
Yeah.
breathing there.
Oh, it's like the OG like Nike slip-ons, or like the Adidas.
Yeah,
but different
yeah.
material. Yeah, it's nice.
Nice.
It's nice.
That
It's
looks
sick.
good.
They got some cool stuff.
Isaac doing his
Okay,
research right now.
I was sleeping. I was sleeping on some
He's like, which one do I
Not
want?
anymore.
He's looking at it.
Isaac, man, you need a pair. As close as you
One other
are,
sick
dude, you
thing
have
that
to have a
did-
pair.
Not that you did, but
Yeah.
that you were wearing. I don't know if you talk about because now you're full of sponsors and deals, but it's that poncho thing, the camouflage
Yeah.
one.
Dry rub. Yeah, I've partnered with them. Those things are really cool. It's basically like it's a poncho and it's insulated, so it works as like a changing towel as well as like keeps you warm, and it's nice for those
Yeah.
early mornings and walking down to the beach or whatever and changing and staying comfy. Yeah,
They seem
they're pretty cool.
They seem cool.
That's
Hunter has
man.
referred me to a couple sunglasses before, so I might have to get this one now.
Yeah, Otis is incredible, man. They have I was a fan of the brand before they even
Mhm.
approached me, and incredible sunglasses, great styles. They have an eco line as well, which is really cool. And potentially working on my own pair next year.
dang.
So we'll see what happens there.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wait, so
big
Otis
time.
spelled like Otis spelled
US.
OTIS, or how
Correct.
how spelled?
Like the elevators.
IS.
Yeah.
IS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some raffles for Otis sunglasses, dude. We'll buy some and do some
Let's do
raffles
it.
for. Damn, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Easy.
Dang. There you go.
Yeah, we'll do a
That's
little
really
care
nice.
package. I have my own collection coming out with Body Glove in May as well that I got to design, and got my best friend on it to make the creative come to life. So we could do a full little package for
sick,
sure.
dude. Yeah, we're doing that. Done.
Awesome.
Done.
Yeah.
Good thing I
Nice.
recorded
Let's
this.
do it.
Yeah, we're doing that.
I'm gonna have to enter into that raffle. Gonna have to enter
Please do
that
it.
Join in the raffle.
raffle.
That's good. That's good.
Felipe's like, oh, there's no winner on this one. It's going to the founder, Felipe.
Yeah, raffle of one person.
Yeah. How's that founders raffle? Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh man. So Hunter, what's the main break that you surf now? Are you still down in LA? Whereabouts do you live in?
Yeah, I'm in LA. I live in the South Bay,
Nice.
in Lawndale at the moment, and
Nice.
yeah, I surf El Porto on most days. It's very consistent. I know the crew there. I know a lot of the crew in the South Bay, but it's cool because that wave is always a touch bigger than any other spot around, and there's always little secret sandbars you can find up and down the South Bay. But yeah, I typically surf there on a day-to-day
Yeah,
basis.
I like it there a lot. That's nice.
Nice.
And you could get breakfast right there afterwards. Walk around. So nice.
Mm-hmm.
I guess crowded sometimes.
It's nice, man.
And it's cold.
It's
Right
crowded.
now, dude, how freezing is it?
It is crowded.
Awesome.
It's probably like high 60s.
I remember.
It's not brain freezing
Yeah,
anymore. so
that's what I was
good.
gonna say. I remember one morning,
Shout.
6 in the morning. I think it was with you. By the time we made it to the outside, I had the biggest brain freeze, dude. Like every time we just go, I was just
Numb.
like, dude, my feet was gone before
It's
we
rough.
came into the water because the sand is so cold. It's like, damn, that's like early January. It gets
Yeah.
crazy cold. Yeah.
It's very cold. Yeah, the water's typically warmer than the air at that
Yeah.
point, Like, it's kind of nice to be in the water that early in the morning.
Isaac lives in Silver Strand.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh, sick.
Yeah,
You guys get
Yeah.
amazing
It is.
surf.
it's good.
yeah. When it's big, it's great to look at. I'll tell you that much. When it gets big out there, I'm like, ooh, that looks nice. That looks good. But it's been fun. It's been fun being out here when the waves are manageable and at my skill level, just to be able to jump in the water and then now that I'm going more often, just that community that's there, like now I know people. And like beforehand, when I'm in the water by myself, I'm like, damn, like really, if I take a bad spill, like who do I really know out here like that? And like, okay, not really anybody, but now I know it feels like I'm just like surfing with my neighbors, which is kind of cool, you know, to be out there. And sometimes like if I catch a wave, like I hear like, yeah, you know, it's like a little 2 foot, 3 footer. But still, you know,
That's that confidence builder right there.
That's
Though.
what I was saying.
Yeah, exactly.
The best surfer is the one that's having the most fun. That's how it is. Yeah. All the time. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, Isaac, talking about the big wave, Isaac, how about those waves in Hawaii when we went for Felipe's wedding? That was pretty.
That was the first time I saw Pipeline Hunter.
First time seeing Pipeline, and then I heard it was a pretty.
It was a good dude. He was as good as it gets. He was firing.
Wow,
I was
really?
doing my wedding, and the photographer, the photographer is. I don't know if you know him.
Pointing out
pipe. I don't know if you know. You probably know, but
hold on, Felipe.
Dude,
1 second.
it's just so funny. Like you probably know him, but he's Bruno Lemos. Like he's a shooter there. Yeah. So he shot my wedding, and like, dude, he was just like, Felipe, can I get there early? And he got there like. He got there like 2 hours early, and he brought a cool lens, a good lens for me, just so I could shoot with him. We were just 2 hours before the wedding. Like Bruno was getting ready, and everybody's getting ready. And me and him were just shooting, and then during the wedding afterwards, we went to like the set to take a picture. Like, wait for the set, wait for the set, wait for the set. And it was just like. Bruno was laughing.
Well,
like,
Felipe did such a great job of like.
Dang, dude.
You did such a good job of like compartmentalizing and being in the moment. But like Isaac, you remember that guy that just launched off the top of the wave?
Yeah.
It was like
out of control.
That was
this guy flew higher than the drones. He just was like
he was fine with it. He was so good.
I was like, what?
Yeah, he was fine.
yeah.
That's cool.
That was the first, like, growing up in LA, I usually, whenever I see the water, I want to go in it. You know, I was like, yeah, let's get in the beast. That was the first time that my instincts were telling me, like, if you do this, you might not make it out of the water. Yeah, because, you know, that surf was, like, pretty high, and I was just like, damn, like, I just felt like the ocean was so unfamiliar to me at that moment, and really appreciative of the athleticism, the confidence that y'all need to have to commit up there.
Yeah.
It's
a mental game.
It's definitely a mental game.
Sure.
Especially because pipe breaks on rocks, basically. Yeah.
Razor sharp rocks
Caves.
with caves.
Yeah. It's intense, dude. It's scary. It's scary. Hey, Bunt, I know we're taking your time, man. I really appreciate you coming on, bro. You know, we're being good friends, man. I've always appreciated your friendship. We appreciate you taking the chance with us. You know, we promise we're gonna work hard to make this a great community for decades to come. So, thank you, man. Appreciate it, dog.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me, guys. Stoked on all you're doing. Thanks for making me an NFT. I'm honored, and you know, all my friends were losing it when they saw that. So thank you for that, and stoked to learn more.
That's
and
awesome.
Grow with you guys. And yeah, I appreciate it.
Man,
so let's keep doing it.
Nice. Get your friends in the Discord, man.
I will. Let's figure it out.
All right,
Get
man.
them in, man.
Thank you, bro.
Sure. Pleasure meeting you, Hunter.
Later, guys.
See you, Hunter.
Nice meeting you, man.